Hey everybody, welcome to We Run on Reruns. I'm Amanda and I'm here with my brother Eric.
How's everybody doing this week? This is our season 2 finale episode. We are at chapter 9, The Gate of Stranger Things, and it's been a kind of a wild ride this season.
Yeah. Every season is just packed full of so many changes. I feel like whenever I do kind of the episode recap to cover what happened the previous episode, it's like every sentence is just filled with like new information that like taking it either in a completely different direction, or we just have so much action and change packed into every moment that and here we are again, another episode that is just like chock full of, you know, we don't really know the direction that all of this is going yet. I think that that's just crystal clear. Is that
that's the
there
thing.
is, there's so much that we don't know. Every bit they start to chip away, we feel like we're getting closer to some answers, but then there's so much unknown, and that's why, you know, I'm very excited. I know that we're not going to be giving away any spoilers here for where the series is finishing yet, but I know that you're all caught up at this point and, you know, excited to, when we do get to that point, to kind of wrap everything up and talk about that, especially now that these episodes are going to be way more fresh in our minds. So I feel like in a selfish way, this is also really great for me to be going through all these details with more like a fine-tooth comb, so that I'm kind of understanding and having a better grasp of where things are at now that we're in the final season 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very interesting rewatching the early seasons while watching season 5 launch, because I feel like there are little things that I'm seeing going, oh wow, they called back to that in season 5 that I might have forgotten about, in all honesty.
Oh, for sure.
So with that though, I will say this. I've jotted down a rating for this episode, but I'm not exactly sure where I want to put this in the pantheon of episodes from this season. So I do listen, this is going to be
You're still a little bit up in the air.
The finales are always good. I'm just torn on how good is good. That's where I'm at right now. And the fans have been voting it better and better and better every single week. Are they going to do it again? I assume they will. But
with the exception of the one episode.
Well, the one was so bad.
Hey, you got to count it.
Okay.
Yeah, that one stands.
They spoke out on their own merit for that. Otherwise, it went straight rising through the entire season, and we'll see if they keep that action going after this one. But before we really get too started, I just want to say thank you to everybody for following us on our socials. Our YouTube, our Instagram, our TikTok. Please keep following us there. Keep liking and subscribing and sharing all those videos. We really appreciate it. And if you drop a comment, I will certainly comment back to you on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And shoot us an email too, if that's a better way for you to reach out to us. We'd love to hear you from there. We run on reruns@gmail.com. And, because have you watched all the episodes for season 5? Are you waiting until they're all released so you can watch them all at once? I know some people like to do that too. Or are you, maybe pacing yourself when you've only watched one episode so far? And I don't know. I know everyone has their own way of enjoying these upcoming episodes, especially with it being the final season. I think some people like us kind of restarted from the beginning to get back to where we are, because some of these seasons have had years and years in between them, where it's like, guys, we watch a lot of shows now. Like, I need to remember what even happened in some of these episodes. So as a quick Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, there have been big gaps of time in between some of these seasons. And that has, kind of let the expectation build over time, right? People are more excited for these episodes as they come out. And also, the way that they chose to release these is very different from many other Netflix shows, at least the ones that I have watched, where they are releasing the first 4 and then the next 2 and then the final one, all very differently at different times and different phases. Usually you see Netflix just drop the whole season and say the final season is out and people can binge watch the whole thing. Now, I have not watched enough Netflix originals. I've probably watched 4 or 5. So I don't know if that's the case for every single one of them, because that's what Stranger Things falls into.
Yeah, I feel like they have done that with a few shows that I've watched where they'll do like a half and half drop, I think, though, where it's not like most of the season and then just like a couple at the end. Like I don't know if I've run into that before, but maybe others have.
Well, season 5 is only going to have 7 episodes, which is the shortest season by far. But from what I understand, the time on the last episode is going to be essentially 3 episodes worth. Yeah, so it could be a full-on movie, basically, or longer.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
could. Yeah, exactly. And like, I'm sure that even if we think we've got it all dialed in by the time we watched even the next episode, there could still be a whole lot that changes. I'm sure the series finale is going to be wild, I'm sure.
I mean, if you think about, I've heard reports saying that could be upwards of 3 hours long. If it is legitimately 3 hours long, that would be like everything from the Lost Sister episode all the way to now as one episode of if they did that for season 2. That's so much information. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, because it goes crazy. Like we're just saying, even in the 45-minute, one of our standard episodes, we learn so much. I mean, for example, in the last episode that we watched, we had the Demogorgons running rampant at the Department of Energy, and Bob sacrificed his life to save the rest of the group. We had Will under the control of the Mind Flayer, and it is communicating. Will is then communicating back with his friends through Morse code by tapping on the side of the chair. But then when the phone rang at the Byers' house, the Mind Flayer figured out where they were and had them cornered. But then 11 showed up and defeated the Demogorgons, or those demo dogs as they're calling them now, and is now reunited with the group. So we had a lot going on. We had Hopper still thinking, hey, I'm going to fall back into my old ways and call the cops into this or call other authorities. And we had, Max and Mike kind of having it out in the kitchen a little bit, because he's still upset that she's around, but all of that is to quickly now change. One thing I will say that, Eric, I know you and I were kind of going back and forth a little bit because I could not clearly in my mind remember where that Demogorgon came from that ended up taking Bob down before the rest busted in. So I had to go back and rewatch that scene really quick. And as I think you had said, it just kind of came out of nowhere. And so what happened was the Demogorgon that took Bob down came out of the other hallway. So yes, even though the door was sealed, it was still closed, but after that Demogorgon took Bob down, then they did flash back to the door a second later, and then the door busted open. Yeah. So both things happened. It was just that the other Demogorgons that then ended up feeding on him, those were the ones that had come flying through the door. Yeah.
The one that got him, I feel so from my remembering of this, and I didn't go back and watch it, so you have to tell me, but Bob comes in like camera left to right into the middle of the screen, and the Demogorgon that takes him down comes camera right to left. Like it comes from the opposite side.
Yeah.
So you're never expecting it. And then the rest of them flood in from the side that he was being chased from. So it's like there was one that had found another way to get to the lobby and came in from the complete opposite direction because Bob's... Bob, what are you doing? Stop it, man.
And
like,
that's
run
all I'm
out
saying.
of the building.
Right. Exactly. Because they still came through the door like a second later. But I guess the way that they did it, too, is they used some camera work so that, like, it was more zoomed in on his face and then Joyce's face. So, like, it didn't show it coming. It just was there. Like, all of a sudden,
Yeah. Well, they need... Wow. It's a great way to showcase, like, you did the pan in on him, the pan in on Joyce, and that builds time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're both standing there looking at each other, and this is the time. And this is when, as a viewer, I know I've watched enough of these shows that I'm going, man, this is too much. You gotta go.
They wouldn't just be showing their faces if this was over. Right?
No. And so you get the idea that Bob goes down while looking at Joyce and feeling like he's so close. And here's the other thing. I just don't understand the concept of, if we leave the Department of Energy, they're just going to go
like
away.
A force field around that door or something. Yeah.
Well, we've seen them chase him through the forest. Like that's not realistic. But
it's just the idea, I think, of maybe getting beyond that door because then their cars at least are outside. You know, it's like, all right. Yeah, then at least they could drive.
Although I think we've learned that Demogorgons are faster than cars.
Yeah, no kidding. So even they would not be safe.
Yeah. Anywho, let's jump into this thing with the gate in chapter 9.
That's right.
So this one starts out in the scene that I wasn't sure where this fell this season. I knew it happened this season, but I wasn't sure if it was the last episode or this one, where it starts with Mike finding out that Hopper hid 11 from him all this time. And Hopper, to his credit, does one of his best parenting moves ever and is like, listen, you and I can talk about this in another room. And he basically pulls Mike away, knowing that he's super emotional about this whole thing. And then he says, listen, the more people that know about her, the more likely is that she gets found out. And Mike is just so upset, so feeling betrayed almost, that he starts trying to fight Hopper. And Hopper just lets him hit him over and over and over and over again until he kind of winds down and realizes that it's not going to happen. Like, he's not doing anything here. Yeah. So it gets all of that frustration out. And then Mike just kind of like settles down, and Hopper understands. He gets it. Like, he gets why he's so upset. And just kind of holds on to him. He's like, it's going to be fine. Like, we're going to work through this. Yeah. But I think Mike's got to, on some level, also understand why he did it.
Yeah. And does this, because we don't really get too much more of Mike screaming at Hopper about this in this episode. I feel like this trickles over into the next season because I don't know.
I don't know if it does.
Maybe not.
I just remember this. I remember this moment where it was like, yeah, I totally get it, Mike. Like, I hear you and I understand. And for someone who has been dealing with all of this frustration, and I don't think Hopper knows exactly how frustrated Mike has been this whole time.
Yeah.
But I get it. But Hopper pulling him aside and letting him basically,
that was the move,
like, explode all on his own was such a great move. Like, it doesn't look good in front of his boys. It doesn't look good in front of his mom or 11 if he just starts freaking out in front of all of them. But that was really great from Hopper to do that and to let him essentially just pound on him for a while.
Well, because Mike was even saying to 11 that he's been trying to call her every night that she's been gone, 353 days. And 11's saying, I heard. And, and Hopper right then owns it. He's like, I wouldn't let her. Like, he didn't make 11.
It was his decision.
His call. Exactly. And
not her fault. Don't blame her. She was she was listening.
Yeah. And
she was listening to all of your calls.
And they used another trick here. So 353 days, 353, 3 plus 5 plus 3, 11.
There you go.
Yeah. Someone pointed that out. I saw online. I'm like, oh man, here we go again with the 353.
See, and that's where I wonder, like, is it always that, or is that a happy accident and they tried to show that it was almost a year later? Because they...
and probably
it's been a long time.
But the fact that they use that number, to me, that seems intentional, because it's like, why else would they have done that? I mean, it seems a little too random. But and then I love how
it does seem random.
Yeah, and then I love how Max is like, first she's like, is that and then later on, after we have that scene with Mike and Hopper, Max is extending her hand and saying, "Hi, I'm Max. I've heard a lot about you," and Elle just like walks right past her to Joyce. Poor Max. I feel bad for Max here.
Yeah, and what Max doesn't get at that moment is that 11 knows exactly who she is, and she's seen her with Mike and isn't thrilled about it.
Yeah.
But she hugs it out with Dustin and Lucas. She blows off Max, and then she goes and hugs Joyce, who then takes her over to see Will. Yeah.
And then she saw the close gate note as well. And Joyce is asking if she can close the gate since she's the one who's opened it before. And we have then this flash of an image at the demo dogs then screaming at the gate. And just after that moment, then we have the credits roll. So a really good intro here.
Great intro, and it does a very good job, in my opinion, of summing up a very quick storyline that did not have to be the major part of this whole thing.
Right.
Like, if Hopper doesn't pull Mike into another room, then Mike and 11 reconnecting becomes half of this episode. But you got it out real quick all together. Mm-hmm. And you don't have time.
No.
Because we've got to move on. We got bigger fish to fry right now.
That's right. Well, then after the credits, then you have Mrs. Wheeler reading in her bathtub and the doorbell rings. She's calling for Ted to answer the door.
He's not
Ted's
doing
asleep. He doesn't know what the heck is going on. He is just in another land. Dreaming of, I don't know what the heck Ted even dreams of.
As he always is.
Yeah, but then, so she's getting out of the bathtub, going down the stairs, opening the door just to find who else but Billy at the door saying he's worried about Maxine. And Mrs. Wheeler is all flustered and blushing and is like, oh, I'm not Nancy's sister. It's like, oh God.
Oh man, this scene between Billy and Mrs. Wheeler is a show stealer. Okay.
It is.
This is great. This is so funny. It's kind of cringy, but it does show Billy in this amazing, like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get how people can like really like Billy.
He always has
at
like
school,
a twinkle in his eye. Yeah.
Like, because you would say, how do all the kids at school think this guy is okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, fear maybe would be one of them because he's insane.
Right.
But genuinely, that wouldn't be enough to make him like the king of the school,
right?
As he tries to portray himself to be. This is how he's got all the girls on his side. All of them.
Yeah.
Because he does this. And seeing him in this light changes things. And I know in the next season, we get a whole lot of pool scenes with Billy.
Yes.
Where he's like the lifeguard.
Oh, gosh.
And that is funny.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Billy's role there is fantastic. It's also kind of cringy, but it's still great.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. And she invites him in. He's eating a cookie at the counter. And there's just all this like very intense eye contact happening between the two of them. And
it's a lot of flirting going on between the two of them.
Wow.
Between Mrs. Wheeler and a high school kid.
Yeah, and she's just in her bathrobe.
But he does look he does look like the guy that's on the cover of her book, to be honest.
No, that's what I thought was great, is that they flashed to the cover of her book, and it kind of looks like both of them on the cover. And then then you have this, and so perfect. So she's jotting down an address, which we know is the buyer's address, since he's already been to Lucas's house. He's saying he's already been looking all over for her. And so she says something about the driveway being dark, and we're thinking, oh, yep, he's going to be showing up to this house, and who knows what is going to be happening at that point. We will get there. But then you have Mike saying, if the brain dies, the body dies. Because now we're back at the buyer's house, and he's talking about, well, how are we...
If you close the gate.
Exactly. So,
like, if you close the gate and you kill this thing off, then everything dies, and therefore Will could die.
Yeah, and even Joyce...
So then the question is, how do you get the Mind Flayer out of Will so that when you close the gate, it doesn't die?
Right. And what was interesting here is Joyce was then first to step up and say, well, you know what? We all just keep giving it what it wants. And we need to try something else. So if it likes the cold, then we have to burn it out. And they know that they have to go somewhere that it doesn't know anything about, which is kind of what they're trying to do in the last episode, like in the shed, but that wasn't good enough.
Well, they can't take any precautions here because all that it took was the phone rang in another building, and he was able to know about it. So they needed a place that Will has never been to. And I'll be honest with you, Hop was giving him directions to this remote destination. I didn't even realize what he was giving him directions to.
Right.
Did you realize? Did you know it right out of the gate?
No, not at the moment. No.
Yeah. So,
I was like,
you got to get the heat. The heat to get the thing out of him. Hop has given Jonathan all these directions to this remote destination, which, as we find out, is the cabin that they stayed at, which totally makes sense because Will has never been to the cabin, and you assume that there's nothing around the cabin that would generate a noise, and even if there was, Will wouldn't recognize where he is from that. So it's the perfect place to do this.
Yeah, and we have Steve telling Nancy that she should go with Jonathan and that he'll stay with Mike and the kids, and he's telling Nancy it's all right. It's fine. You're good. You do you. I'm going to be here with Dustin, Mike, and the kids.
Well, and, I believe he said, I may be a shitty boyfriend, but I make a pretty good babysitter. And it's like, yeah, you do.
So good.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, he does.
It's a great line from Steve where he is at that moment admitting, hey, listen, I know as a boyfriend, it's not working out. And he sees it working out with Jonathan. He sees it more than Nancy sees it, I think. But he also recognizes what his job is here. And his job is going to be to help these kids out. Because he's been connecting a whole lot with Dustin.
Yeah, for sure. And in this moment, too, it's kind of like, all right, teen romance might not be the first thing that they need to like focus on right now either. So it's sort of, I think Steve is probably thinking, if I do have a chance with Nancy in the future, like right now is not the time to really like make that leap either. Like we need to focus on what's happening here, like saving, each other's lives.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that later.
Yeah, that's true. But tell teenagers that, and that's just not realistic. That's like they're going to be thinking about that 24/7. So that is the catch. And so I get why Nancy is concerned that she's leaving, or not concerned, but worried about what Steve
hurting
thinks.
His feelings. Yeah.
And Steve is the one to step up and be like, no, listen, I get it. Yeah. Okay. Listen, I'm a terrible boyfriend. Let's move on in different directions. And this is like the official Steve and Nancy breakup.
Well,
like it was never actually
really happened.
No, it was never really said. It was just kind of implied by Nancy never saying I love you back to Steve.
I mean, you could almost argue that they were like on a break.
Okay, settle down. Let's not get to that. We've already dealt with that in the other podcast. Enough.
So we have Mike also telling Eleven to be careful because he doesn't want to lose her again. He can't lose her again. And she's saying, promise. And they're about to kiss, and then Hopper comes in with the wet blanket and just, disturbs their interaction here. And
their moment.
He's looking for Elle. Yeah. Their moment.
Yeah.
So as Hopper does. So then we have Elle in the car with Hopper, and I love how he then jumps in. So we're not going to talk about how you look like some MTV punk.
Love it.
I'm not
love
bad.
This scene. This scene is so good. And not only does he want to know like how she got this new look out of absolutely nowhere, but you learn, or I felt like I learned, that Elle doesn't know who Sarah is. I would have thought that would have come up somehow, I guess. But Hopper is explaining to Elle that he feels like a black hole, and then he talks about Sarah, his daughter.
It was surprising.
And then Elle's like, who's Sarah? And he has to like sit back and be like, oh. And then explains.
Oh, all those months in the cabin, we never touched on that huge part of my life. Up. Like, what?
That's very what I'm saying. That was never brought. It almost, to me, felt like, and I think Hopper actually was knocked back by that too. Like, how have we spent all this time together and have never mentioned such a huge moment in my life? And that really set the tone for him talking about feeling like a black hole, and that everything that touches him kind of gets sucked into this black hole, and he was scared that the black hole would take Elle too. And then he talks about the look, which is kind of how they get out of this more serious conversation, in which she says, bitchin'. He's like, yeah, bitchin'. Which, again, has got to imply to Hopper, she's been with somebody. Like, she's met some people somewhere that have changed her look and given her some new vocabulary.
Yeah, well, I mean, and initially, I guess my thought is with her bringing up Sarah, I mean, he was into straight away, like, just, I need to protect you. That was all that he was thinking about. And I think he just immediately, in his mind, just started treating her as he would have his daughter, like, she just fell into that role. So it's almost like, well, why would he have talked about his daughter? Because it was more about like fitting her into that puzzle piece into his life too. It's like this just make sense, and he wasn't going to be sharing his adult, issues with this child. He was just focused on keeping her safe,
But that I think Elle then gets an understanding for why he's been so overprotective, because he's already lost a young girl.
Yeah, and he's saying
that makes sense.
And he's saying, I'm not mad. I just want to know where you've been. And she's like, well, to see Mama. And he's like, well, how did you get there? A nice man's big truck.
Right.
Okay. And your aunt gave you these clothes and makeup. And she's just like, I shouldn't have left. I shouldn't have lied to you. So we're not really going to touch on that piece yet. And, but yeah, that's when we get into the Sarah conversation. And I'm glad that this has come up. It's saying, he's saying that she was his little girl. She left us. And Hop is saying that he's just really sorry and that he can be really stupid. She's agreeing, well, she could be really stupid too. And he doesn't hate the way she looks, by the way. It's kind of cool. Yeah. And again, like you said, bitchin'. This
was a scene that needed to happen, though.
Yeah.
You needed to see this. Sure. They've already implied it in episode 5 when he basically makes the radio call to the cabin, trying to apologize to her. And then in episode 6, you see her seeing him making the call. And now here we are with them for the first time, the two of them alone. We get an opportunity for them to be apologetic towards each other and know that, okay, we're cool. Let's move on. And that was a critical scene, in my opinion, for this episode. If you don't do that, you leave so much untold.
Oh, yeah.
So glad that they put this in there.
And then back at the buyer's house, we have Dustin. He's clearing out the fridge so that Steve can then load this demo dog, which is wrapped up in a blanket, into the refrigerator. And because they're thinking, well, we might want to look at this later. We might want to.
Dustin's got it as a science experiment.
Which it makes sense. It's like, yeah, they shouldn't just burn this thing or bury it right away. They probably might want to know more about it so that they can defeat it.
Dustin is bringing like some good, smart, clear-headed thinking to the table here. Not that maybe any of them can actually do anything with that knowledge. Yeah. Maybe they can, but someone can. Maybe, hopefully. And so by keeping it cold, that's a good step.
But the kids are saying, we're not even in the game. We're on the bench here. And Mike is showing them, then pulling out the map, and where on the map,
yeah, he's looking at all the tunnels that are
it's the tunnels that
are
on the map.
leading all over.
I'm like, wait,
that are leading all over, and he finds this one place. He's like, this is the hub. And
yes.
The hub is what we know already. It's like that graveyard that they were all led to that one time earlier.
Yes.
We've already been to this place a couple times now. Yeah. And essentially, Steve is trying to rally the troops, giving them like these sports metaphors, and they're all like, listen, like you said, hey, we're on the bench. We're not even in the game. So then they decide, well, we can get in the game. We can help. Mm-hmm. And Steve is losing control of the kids. He's not really fulfilling his babysitter duties here, as now the kids are running the asylum, and they start coming up with a plan to help Eleven because she's not going to be able to close the gate if all the demo dogs are running all over the place. And so they decide to try and lure the demo dogs to that tunnel with the hub. Mm-hmm. And they know that they can get there from that field entrance point that Hopper dug into earlier in the season.
Yeah, and just then we have Billy revving his engine as he's pulling up to the buyer's house outside, and you just know this is not gonna go well. And Max is hearing his car. Yeah. Yeah,
genuinely at this point, I think when I watched this for the first time, I was like, I mean, I don't know how bad this is going to go. This is going to go
Right.
real bad.
Right.
For somebody. I don't know who it's going to be, but it's going to be somebody.
Yeah, right. And Max immediately hears the card. Is just like, he can't know I'm here. He will kill me. He'll kill all of us. So Steve meets him outside, and Billy's saying to him, a little birdie told me my stepsister is here. And Steve is saying, she's not here. Then who is that? And he looks over, and of course all the kids are looking out the window. Come on, guys. Come on.
What are you doing? You just
happening?
said he can't know I'm here, and you're going to look out the window at him? What are you doing?
These kids,
You're idiots.
Yeah, these are not, this isn't, this isn't
you
like a
just
one-way
were-
glass. They can see you.
No. Dustin is level-headed and thinking of putting the Demogorgon body in the fridge to save it for future science experiments. Yet, when they know they have to hide Max, they're going to put her in plain sight? Like,
So
come on, guys.
bad. And, Billy's barging in at this point and saying, you know what happens when you disobey me? What? Wow, Billy. Okay. And
Well, you know where he got that from.
Well, exactly. And Billy's probably also thinking, what is going to happen to me if I don't bring Max home?
Right?
Like, he's
Right.
And so Billy is then grabbing Lucas by the shirt, and he's holding him against the wall. Again, where did he get this from?
Yep.
This is just like what his dad did to him in the last episode. And he's screaming at Lucas never to see his sister again. And then Steve comes in, and Steve gets a couple of great hits in, and it's like, oh, okay, this is looking pretty good. Tells him to leave, but then Billy hits him with a plate and takes him down and just starts pummeling him. And he is not stopping until Max sees that sedative injection, right? So she grabs this thing. She has no idea. I mean, we know it's the sedative that took out Will for all that time, but we're even questioning what kind of drug was that, because he was out for a long time.
Yeah, she knows that that's what that is because they've used it now twice.
Well,
but
yeah.
None of us have any idea what that actually is.
Right.
This magical serum that's in this thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so she gets him right in the side of the neck, and I love that he turns around just so he can see this needle hanging out of his neck. And just as he's getting up, he's looking at it, getting really wobbly, really quick, and just falling right to the ground. So Max is looking at him, though. He was still conscious enough because Max makes him say twice that he will leave them alone. And then she takes the bat that Steve had that was like covered in nails, and she slams it like right in between his legs, like not touching him or hitting him, but it was real close. Like if her aim wasn't
dangerous
perfect.
enough.
Oh my god.
Dangerous enough.
Yeah. So they left him there, and Max took the keys, and they were off in Billy's car.
Well, and
so that worked out.
Billy said that he understands. Like he said, I forget exactly the wording that he agreed to, but he agreed that he would leave her and her friends alone.
Yeah, although, I mean,
and
I'm thinking, who's remembering any of this? Like, you just gave him this insane sedative. I don't know if I would.
Well, no, I agree. Like, we'll see how that plays out, right? But he did say that he would agree to that in this moment. And I think at this point I have the vibe that, okay, Max and Billy are now going to be able to coexist a little bit more freely. Because I feel like you said, Billy's concerned that his biggest concern is not that Max is okay.
Right.
His biggest concern is like, what's going to happen to me if I don't provide, like, get her back in the place that she's supposed to be in? Like, I'm going to be in the biggest trouble, and I don't want to be in that trouble.
Yeah.
So he's got to come up with her just so he's not in trouble. However, this shows him she's going to be fine on her own. She can handle herself just fine. And we'll see what that brings us.
Yeah, because that's not really a good answer for their dad or her mom either. It's like,
Nope.
oh, Max is
Nope, it's
fine.
not.
She's got a bat covered in nails. She's good. Like,
No, but it does show him that these friends of hers are at least, going to be protective of her.
Yeah.
Like he tried to intimidate Lucas just because he couldn't control Max. So if he can scare Lucas off enough, then there won't be a reason for her to run off.
Yeah.
Like that's the theory. That I understand that, like, you can't fix this, so you take away the source, right? You can't fix this problem, so you take this away.
And to me, a kid like that with just that anger building up is just looking for somewhere to put it. It doesn't really matter.
Of course.
And hey, this is a great place to aim my anger, because I don't care. I don't want my sister to be happy either, because I'm not happy. So I want to make her miserable too. So I think I want to go to anyone that is making her, bringing her any type of joy in her life, and make him miserable too. And I think like it's really just it's a problem. So we will see where that goes. It'll be really interesting to see with the direction that Billy heads once he regains consciousness. But for right now, we are back at Hopper's cabin, and we're with Jonathan and Nancy and Joyce and Will, where they're lighting a fire, and Will is tied down. This is very much like the Exorcist style situation that's happening here, because, let's kill this son of a bitch is what they're saying. Like we're done with this beast that is now possessing Will. We need to free him. So we also...
They've got like 5 space heaters going. Like they've got it all. They've got every source of heat that they can come up with just pointed at Will in some sort of heat circle. And and here we are.
And old space heaters from the 80s. That might be enough to burn the cabin down on their own. I mean...
It very well might. I'm surprised there was enough electricity in that place to actually run all those things. But they did it.
Well, and also, Eric, mention of the 80s, just going back, when you mentioned, or maybe I mentioned, the MTV reference where Hop said that 11 looked like... Yeah,
absolutely.
I love that, because I think in like 80... like around this year is like the dawn of MTV. It did not exist prior to this time. So I feel like that was also a reference to, hey, 85, I want to say, is when MTV like first came about.
Yeah. MTV did not, I mean, in the grand pantheon of television, like MTV's reign was short but awesome. Like it was like 15 years of dominant.
Yeah.
MTV launch. Let's Google that real quick, see what they say.
Yeah, when did
1981.
Oh, it was 81. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it had to be around enough. And I do like it says there, but at the same time, I already knew this fact. Like the first music video. Do you know which one it was?
Oh, I do, but I don't. What is it?
It was Video Killed the Radio Star.
Oh,
which is great.
Perfect.
It's a great video to play for your first video on MTV. But yeah, that just, well, because they stemmed out from music videos into just what was pretty much the dawn of reality television.
Yeah.
And when you talk about Real World and Road Rules and all the other things that MTV put together during the 90s, they were like the beacon of what is cool.
Yeah.
And so Elle dressing that way is quite something.
Well, so everything comes full circle too with many types of media or just things in general. And so I will argue, because I know I'm a big fan of audio, and here we are doing a pure audio podcast here for you guys listening in. And I will say sometimes it's good to go back to the roots there, back to, even though video might have killed some radio stars, I think there is still a lot of value in just listening, because we're trying to do so many other things now visually. It's nice to just have something that you don't even have to worry about looking at, that can just be like played in the background.
Well,
so,
I think we've gone from everybody staring at their phones all the time, which people still do, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
To people still wanting to be able to listen to the things they like to listen to without having to actually look at the phone. Like audiobooks are huge right now. Podcasts are a big deal. Like everybody can find a podcast that they're interested in. So yeah, it's a ton of different media, but it is coming back around. I mean, my daughter's got a vinyl record player. Like, I
love that.
We're looping back around because her generation has never even understood the concept of owning music.
Right.
Like having the album.
So, right.
Like our generation went from buying all the tapes to buying all the CDs to, getting MP3s. And now all of a sudden we had all this, music that was just out there. And then we had to download all the different music we wanted. Now it's streaming music that you can find on all these places that you don't even have to have owned it. And it's come so far that now we're coming back around and people want to own the albums. And it's vinyl because the albums are, it's the same artwork, but it's a bigger picture. You know what I mean? And so it's a
bigger picture,
and it's a more,
and I would
more hands-on product.
Yeah, and overall, it's like the integrity of the music will just keep its value over time better than a CD. I mean, also the fact that CDs, I would throw them in my car. They would risk maybe sun damage more easily. Like CD players tend to have more issues with how they would play the music, whereas like a record it just holds the value, and you can get a cleaner sound. But so that's really cool. I mean, I know as someone that I spent so much time in my teenage years just looking at CDs, flipping through them at Bull Moose Records or, Newberry Comics and all these, Goody and Sam. There were just so many. Strawberries, that was the other one. I love that. I loved like looking at the lyrics and looking at all the pictures. So it's really cool that that's coming back in. I don't think it ever fully left, but I like that it's making this, this resurgence of popularity. Because it's something, because it feels more empty without that. You don't get the full picture.
That's right. The kids that are in middle school now, in high school now, it's never been a thing to own the music. And their parents are probably mostly streaming music or playing it off their phones. And so there's so few people who see the like tangible pieces that it's come back around.
And a full album
it feels cool.
It tells a story oftentimes, and
that's the other piece. We're just
listening in on just like this one piece of one song. It's like, okay, that's great, but like, what about the rest of it?
That's like, I know like the last Eminem album tells an entire story all the way through. Green Day did it with like Boulevard of Broken Dreams all the way through. It's a whole story that you listen to, and they're not all that way, but a lot of them can be that way. And so it's worth listening to all the songs. And if you are just listening to your streaming media, you're hearing like the singles.
Right.
You're missing out on all the other songs that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
anyway,
we could go on that for a while, but so where we're leaving, and now we're back at the cabin where they're trying to roast the demon out of Will. But we also then have Elle and Hopper at the Department of Energy, where Hopper is getting out his shotgun out of the back of the truck, and the kids are also driving the car as Steve is coming to. And I love this moment where he's like noticing Max behind the wheel, and he's barely gaining consciousness because he was just knocked out on his butt too. So he was kind of like, his face is all messed up, and he's all like, what the hell is going on here? And Max is kind of looking back at him and swerving all around, and you realize she has like a brick or something taped to the gas pedal. I mean, this is a mess.
Oh, she can't reach it.
She's hitting mailboxes. Like, this is just a disaster. And it was a hilarious scene. And I think he even... Did he call her 11? No, I think he said Nancy in this scene. He thought that that it was Nancy that was with him, or maybe Nancy driving.
I think he thought Mike was Nancy.
Oh, because he was like helping him.
Because they look, well, and they're, brother and sister, so they look similarly, because it's still like blurred vision from his perspective. And so he thought that was Nancy, and then it ends up being Mike. And it's like, oh, wait, nope, you're not Nancy.
Nope.
What's going on here? And figures the whole thing out.
Well, then
I will say real quick, in the scene with 11, there were a whole bunch of flashbacks real quick with 11 and her entire life at the Department of Energy during that scene, which was important because this is her first appearance at the Department of Energy.
Yes, that's true. That's right. This is really the first time we're seeing her back there since since we weren't actually with her.
So she's kind of nervous just walking through the doors of this place, which does set a different tone for her a little bit. But then we move back to Joyce in the cabin with the heat. Will has now woken up from the pain, and Joyce, you see her, she's got a little flashback of Bob in her head, and she's just like, we got to do this, and starts jacking up the heat on all of the devices. And Jonathan turns and like hugs Nancy because he's really upset that Will is going through all this pain, but at the same time, Joyce, as the parent, recognizes we have to do this. This has to be the way. Because if it's not, I don't know what the way is. And then, of course, we get the kids in the car all the way to the field, where we get Max stepping out of the car saying, "Told you, Zoomer."
That's right. Yeah, that was great with Max just saying, you know what? That's my role here, guys. This is who I can be in the group. This is the
add
role
me
that I
to
can
the
add.
party.
Yeah, exactly.
Add me to the party. I'm the Zoomer. Let's go.
That's right.
Heck
And that's when we realize, like, these kids are all going back to that same spot where Hopper had been tied down by all those vines, and Bob had to locate him, and they had to, untangle him and save him from this mess. So we're going right back to that spot with the pumpkin patch.
This is the entry point. This is the place that they know how to get into the tunnel. And if they can get in here, they can get to that hub.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have to get out. But they can always get in and get there and worry about getting out later.
At least they left a rope down this time, which I remember the last time we watched it, I was like, how are they getting back up? There's no method of escape. When they had gone down previously, they left no exit point.
Listen, if you leave just a rope, I'm probably just staying down there forever. I mean, you're going to have to tow that rope to get me out of there. I can't climb the rope. I failed that in gym class every single time.
Okay, yeah, valid. I would be useless too. I'd be like, well, I can just dangle here from this rope, guys. Great.
That's, I'll awesome. Dangle. They tied it to the back of the car. It's like, drive that car about 10 feet. Now I can pull up. But I assumed that to get in and out, they just kind of like reached hands down and jumped and pulled each other in and out.
I don't know.
But
yeah,
rough.
Well,
rough spot. Anyway, we've always got a rope.
Yeah, and we have Hopper and 11 back at the Department of Energy where they're going down the stairwell, and then they find Dr. Owens because, Eric, I know I was wondering, whatever happened to him? We left him back there. He was still the only one that we knew that was left alive in that building, and I wasn't really holding out much hope, but we have him here, and I like how he's introducing him to Elle, where he's like clearly all, messed up. He's bleeding.
Hey, by the way, like all that stuff that you were trying to figure out, like, I've got her.
Yeah,
like,
she's here.
We all knew, like, she's here. I've had her hidden from you this entire time. By the way, once she saves all of us and the entire world, can you not treat her like a lab rat? That'd be great.
Yeah, thanks.
And he's kind of like, yeah, okay. And so he gives him then a pistol and he says, don't go anywhere. And Dr. Owens kind of chuckles a little bit at that.
Yeah.
But again, I felt like this was a good way to tie off that knot. Like, we just left him in a security room, never to be found or heard from again. You're going back into the building. You do want to cross paths with him.
Well, what was also weird here is that his leg was messed up. Like, he was bleeding because they gave him something where he could create a tourniquet. But I'm thinking, how did that happen? And then they just got bored of you and left. Like, they took a bite and ran off. Like, they didn't.
Somehow he got attacked, but not taken. He did not get the Bob treatment.
No, and
it's a little strange.
Yeah. But then back in the Upside Down, we're with Steve, Mike, Lucas, Dustin, and Max. And Dustin,
I mean, the argument could be that the hive mind called them away when they were chasing down Will.
I suppose
at the house. Like, that would be the reach that I would take.
That would be the only.
I don't know if that's
opportunity, right? Like, it called them off to do something else because that is the only thing that they care about is following this hive mind. So you're right. That would be the only explanation.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the explanation to have.
Yeah.
Did it happen? Sure. Well, let's say it did.
Yeah. Well, so
anyway, continue.
Yeah, back in the tunnels with the kids, they're looking around, and Dustin looks up to see this like pulsating thing on the ceiling. It almost looks like an eye or something, like looking down at them. And then he's looking up it, and it's like, oh, Dustin, like, have we learned nothing? Because it just opens up and it's like spraying. It's kind of like what happened to Hopper when he got trapped down there on his own, where it is just like spraying those particles out at him, and he starts freaking out and screaming and spitting it out. And it's like, oh, Dustin, yeah.
Well, to be fair, we've learned that, but Dustin hasn't learned that. Dustin hasn't seen this before.
But Dustin has been through this whole thing with Dart and making that mistake.
No, but he's the science guy.
I know.
He wants to learn it.
Well, yeah. Well, back at the cabin.
He learned it.
He learned it. Will is still screaming from this heat, and Will is then growing like all these like dark veins all over his face. And again, it's reminding me of The Exorcist here, where he is like sweating like crazy and he's reaching for Joyce, and he grabs her and he's starting to choke her. Like, she is then like being held by him because he is totally possessed by this demon at this point. But then we have Hopper and 11. It's just kind of these like quick flashes back between scenes, because then we have Hopper and 11 back creeping around the corners at the lab, and they're hearing a demo dog in the distance, several of them. And Hopper is using his knife kind of around the corner, and that's where he's also seeing them in the reflection on his knife, and it's not good.
No, it's not.
No, so they're almost now in a position of being trapped there again. And Nancy back in the scene with Will then choking Joyce, Nancy decides to, you know what? Jonathan's not really doing anything here, so she grabs the poker from and gets it really hot and scalds Will. So she just takes it and she jabs it right into his side until he releases Joyce. It's like, hello, what else are you gonna do here? I mean, it's not gonna kill him, but she brands him. So
she sure does brand him real good.
Pretty brutal.
I mean, that's not something you want to leave on there for a very long time.
No.
But needless to say,
yeah,
it did at least let Joyce out of there.
Yeah.
And we move forward, but that was
brutal.
That's a tough decision that Jonathan was not going to make. And we're learning, over the first 2 seasons that Nancy will make the tough call when needed. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to make the tough call, but in the moment of real desperation, Nancy will come up with the thing, with something important.
And I have to say, they're definitely making these choices with Jonathan's character too, like in the last episode where he didn't want to take the gun and he didn't want to, I mean, even in the very beginning, sure, we established as a child he didn't want to kill the innocent animal, get that, but now I feel like we did have the scene where Jonathan stood up and kicked Steve's ass, but now we have him kind of like backtracking and not wanting to take the weapon, being really fearful, really shying away, looking away when Will is freaking out. It's definitely leaving an impression on the viewer, I would say, for sure.
Jonathan is definitely being written as an incredibly passive character.
Yeah.
And you would think that in some of these moments, he would be a little bit more aggressive. And the only time we saw him really get aggressive was against Steve, standing up for Nancy, after he was provoked over and over and over and over to the point where Steve said something about him being like his deadbeat father. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know that it was standing up for Nancy so much as it was
so true.
Him disparaging his family character.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To come out and physically hurt Will, that is the opposite of hurting his family.
Yeah.
That's physically hurting his family.
Yeah, members. But he was choking out his mom. I don't know.
I am aware of that. It's one of these things where he's definitely being booked as super passive. Yeah. And it's not the best look for Jonathan.
Yeah.
But again, Jonathan has consistently had not the best look.
Yeah.
You'd want him to go after Nancy. He doesn't go after Nancy. Yeah. He's introduced to us taking photos of Nancy and Steve in the woods. That's a rough look for Jonathan right out of the gate.
Yeah. That's a great...
Jonathan needs a moment.
No, that's a great point, though. Going back to his camera, it's like he enjoys being the observer. He likes being the one outside of the group, not necessarily one to... Yeah.
He's never made the claim that he's the hero.
No, or the aggressor, or the forward one. He's going to always take the back seat. Yeah. And
he will always take the back seat.
And, then we have this moment where the kids are in the tunnel and they're just starting to set all this stuff on fire, right? And just as they're doing that in the tunnels, we're back in this scene with Will where all of these particles start to get released. It's almost like those particles that we saw going into Dustin, as he's looking up at that thing. It's way more, though, than that. They're all being released from Will.
To me, it was more reminiscent of that tornado Mind Flayer situation.
But now coming out.
That went in through his eyes is now coming back out.
Exactly.
And even Nancy saw it in his neck, start to come out. And so now I am going to relate it to the kids doing all the work in the tunnel, like setting that on fire. You see all the Demogorgons that are even around Hopper and 11 start getting hurt. You see the ones that are, or you see Will start reacting. I think it's all connected as like, this is the Mind Flayer, and the injury that is happening at Will is happening to all of them. So it is definitely a situation where you start to see it coming and you go, okay, they're getting close.
Yeah. And I know they like to make different horror references here, and this reminded me so much of The Green Mile. I don't know, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie, Eric, but the part that sticks out to me is when like they get those particles that exit people's bodies, and it's like this wave, like the spiraling storm almost of these bits. I don't know, do you remember that movie with Tom Hanks and where he was the prison guy?
I remember The Green Mile. I wouldn't have called it a horror movie.
Well, it's a sci-fi, like, but it's a Stephen King story. So, I mean, it's still in that genre. So. But so that's kind of the piece to it that this just reminded me. But no, you're right. The Green Mile overall would not be classified the movie as horror, so but it was a Stephen King book. So
no. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that. So as all these Demogorgons are now feeling all this fire and everybody's getting hurt, we see this tornado officially exit Will. And Nancy like rushes out the door and watches it kind of ascend into the sky and kind of burst up. And then you go back and Will looks at Joyce and says, "Mom?" And you see them all just kind of hug each other. And Jonathan gets on the radio to Hop and says, "Close it." So then he and 11 start descending on that elevator down closer to the gate.
Yeah. And now it's like all glowing red, and it's almost like these like fibers that are just like swirling all around them, and you can kind of see through it a little bit, but they're down there to now work on closing this up, because now Will seems to be back to himself. So we have 11 holding her hand out to these glowing fibers, and something, you know, as I said, you could kind of see through them, and you notice it's almost like there's something flying in the background behind them, whether that's more demo dogs, but something is back there. And we are also with Steve, where he is bashing the tentacles as they're starting to pull Mike down. So as they've been like setting stuff on fire, they're still alive. Like they're still trying to attack them. So he's trying to help Mike. And then all of a sudden you see one of these demo dogs come out, and Dustin's realizing it's actually Dart. And he's face to face with Dart. And he's kneeling down and offering him a nougat and allowing them to pass. So it's like, I guess Dart, it looked like he had some different colors on him, because overall Dustin recognized
and
he could tell
he does obviously look a little different. He's a lot bigger now, but the two of them clearly recognized each other, and he's like, "Hey, will you let us pass?" And he's not going to let that happen. But when he starts offering him Three Musketeers bars, he preoccupies Dart and lets everybody else go through, and then Dustin basically slinks on by while he's eating the nougat. And we get all these like flashbacks between the tunnel and between, well, not flashbacks, but just rotations between the tunnel and Elle closing the gate, and Elle is channeling memories of Kali trying to shut the gate and, moving the train and doing all the things in that episode that nobody
channeling
liked.
her anger
and
to make it happen.
Channeling her anger. That's right.
I guess that was the one piece of value that we got from that episode is.
Listen, there was important story told in that episode. It's just, it didn't need to be told that way. That's, I think, the thing that people didn't like. So now all the kids are still in the tunnel. They're at the end, and half of them are out, but not all of them. And Dustin and Steve are still in the tunnel, and all the Demogorgons are racing towards them. And they just run right by.
Dustin's not going to be hustling up that rope. He's in the same boat that we would have been in. Dustin's not climbing that thing. Like, how is this going to even happen?
Listen, you and I
Steve
both
could do it.
You and I both played our fair share of sports in middle school and in high school, and neither one of us are getting up that rope. Rope climbing was not on the list. Okay, no, never was. No. So anyway, all these Demogorgons run past them. They're gone, and they're like, "It's 11
on a mission." Mm-hmm.
Like they're after 11.
Yeah,
and meanwhile, Hop is trying to support Elle with his assault rifle. Basically, as these Demogorgons are crawling up the side of the gate, he's just trying to take them down one at a time. And now we have that thing that was behind the gate is that tornado that got Will is coming through. This smoke monster arm is reaching through the gate.
Yeah. And 11 is having flashbacks of Papa telling her that eventually her powers will kill her. And 11 is using her full strength, just screaming to push back this power and close up the gate. And her face now, just like Will's had been getting all like with the black veins, and she's getting all veiny, and when it seals up and the red...
she levitates off the ground too.
Oh, yes! She's not only red, she's literally floating in the air, and it is sealing up this gate, and you see this red glow that is finally like... It's almost like getting like cauterized, and it is finally closed up, and 11 just falls over, and the Demogorgons are all falling, like raining Demogorgons from the sky.
Yeah.
Is what's happening. And
it seems like they've been disconnected from the hive.
Exactly.
And therefore they are all dying. In fact, you go into the tunnel where Dustin and Steve still are, and some of those tentacles appear to be shriveling up a little bit.
Yeah.
Where they're not exactly connected either.
Yeah.
And then you get Hop with, of course, the one line that I feel like he's said a few times, where he looks at Elle and he goes, "You did good, kid."
Yeah.
And then 1 month later.
Right, and then we have that scene 1 month later.
They say they've ended both seasons this way, where it's like, oh, a month later. Mm-hmm. And, well, I'll let you.
Well, we're back at the Department of Energy, but there are these signs that are saying, warning, restricted area, and it is all chained up. So it's like, no kidding, this is not good. But I love how you have this moment of, after all that insane... all this insanity that was happening between Will and 11 and everyone getting hurt and craziness, and then you have the Murray Bowman sitting
Murray
outside the Department of Energy in his lawn chair, just waving to basically laughing, saying, yeah, we knew that this was a problem, see you guys later. And he is just like just chuckling as they're all driving by, and it's close
and there's this whole like story being told in the background about, Barb and how the Department of Energy covered up her death. Mm-hmm. And so you see them doing a funeral for Barb, which is good because it gives her parents closure. Yes. And this is, again, this is what Murray's plan was. You're not going to catch them on the truth. You have to get something that's close enough to the truth, but also believable. Mm-hmm. And so all these tapes that Jonathan and Nancy sent out with Murray have hit. And the news is out there.
Yeah, and I guess that answered, because initially I'm like, did those tapes make it out there? Like, did that work? Yep. And yes, it did. And we're hearing it was all explained away by a chemical leak at the Department of Energy. And I was just glad to see that Barb could finally be laid to rest. And so I think that scene kind of finally buttoning up that piece of the story was good.
Absolutely. And then we get like a little diner scene with Dr. Owens and Hopper, where, you know, he's coming in with like a cane and Hopper's like, well, how's the leg, Doc? Uh-huh. He's like, well, I think my football career's over. Yeah. But essentially what you get from that is Dr. Owens saying, you know, sometimes I can even surprise myself. And he gives Hopper a birth certificate for Jane Hopper. Mm-hmm. So now, on record, Jane is, you know, just his a kid.
Family.
And this is his family, and here it is. We've got the certificate so that if, you know, she can live her normal life, you know, in this state.
So Dr. Owens has got some pull. If he's just whipping out birth certificates.
Sure does.
I mean,
sure does.
Yeah, we want him on our side.
And also we like him.
Yeah, we like him.
Like there was definitely a point in time where, you know, it was questionable because the whole time we know the Department of Energy,
it's never been
people
good.
In charge of it are bad.
Right.
Dr. Owens came through a number of times in this season to help, and this is kind of the final moment for him in season 2 where he actually gets to do good.
Yeah, so I apologize, Paul Reiser. I feel like when you first came on the episodes in the beginning of your stint on Stranger Things, that I was questioning. I'm like, I don't like you and I do not trust you. I thought it went in a totally different direction, so I'm glad that.
But I think you're supposed to not like him and you're supposed to distrust him, and
I know.
And that's how it's supposed to be, and until he proves otherwise. And even when he does good things, you're still like, but are you?
I know.
And now when we get to the end of the season and you've seen the whole thing play out, you go, yeah, no, he's all right.
Yeah.
We like him.
Well, we're also ending this season again on Christmas, because this is exactly like where we ended the last season as well. And I'm thinking, oh, that's interesting. So it really is, I mean, as Mike said,
well, it was
353
like
days.
A year later.
Right. So, but it's just like, okay, so that's, the fact that they made it exactly a year was just another interesting choice. So, so it's Christmas time and the buyers are dancing, and we also have Mrs. Wheeler taking pictures of Mike, and everyone seems...
Well, they're getting ready for the snowball.
That's right. They're getting ready for the snowball, because, and this is another reference going way back to season 1, where Mike wanted to bring 11 to the snowball. So then we have Steve telling Dustin that he looks great. Dustin's hair is all fancy because Steve is clearly taking him to the dance in this moment, and he's dropping him off like his big brother. I feel like Steve is just stepping right into his like big brother role, and so they're continuing down that, and it's so great.
You saw Dustin ready for the dance at his house, and there's like, where is it? Where is it? He's running around frantically. He had to find the spray that Steve had told him about, so he can he could fix his hair exactly the way that Steve does.
Oh gosh, yeah,
doing good.
Yeah, and so Steve is dropping him off at the dance, and as he did, Steve could see Nancy through the door too, but decided not to go in. He was just dropping off Dustin.
No.
Yeah.
And Nancy's just in there, like, monitoring the punch bowl.
Yeah.
But Jonathan is also in there doing all the photography for the dance, which is very cool. So the two of them are on the inside helping out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't think you'd normally see Jonathan necessarily at a school dance either. So it's like, it was perfect that he was the one, taking pictures and in charge of the photography. And then I do love this moment where the boys are all kind of looking around, and then Lucas obviously wanted to ask Max to dance, and he's just kind of staring over there. Awkward. And Max goes up to him, "Are you trying to ask me to dance, stalker?" Like, oh my God, I love Max.
Yeah. Yeah, he fumbled that so hard, and Max just is like, "Listen, I understand what you're trying to say. Let's go."
Yeah.
And so the two of them go out to dance, and then some random girl comes up and asks Zombie Boy.
That's right.
Because you got to connect him with somebody. So some girl shows up and goes and dances with Will.
Yeah.
And so
Poor Dustin.
I love this moment for Dustin, though.
Me too.
He goes up to this group of girls, and instead of asking, he just like throws his hand out there like Steve has kind of taught him to. And they all laugh him off. And then he starts going towards another group, and essentially
didn't even acknowledge he was there. Basically,
they just kind of like
mean girls.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, and that's just kind of how it goes. So then the other girls just like run from him essentially, and so he is feeling all sorts of bad for himself. He's sitting on the bleachers, really upset about it. And again, this is the moment. Nancy steps up. Nancy sees Dustin and goes over and asks him to dance. And so he gets to go out on the dance floor with Nancy, which gets all the girls' attention. Because, hey, if Nancy Wheeler's going to dance with Dustin, he must be okay.
Yes.
And so that's just how it works. But Nancy's telling him all sorts of stuff about how he's always her brother's favorite and this, and I don't think any of it is true.
I know.
I think she's just trying to lift him up.
I know.
But,
and now that they've all known each other in a totally different way than they ever did before, it's like there's a closeness there that this tragedy has brought them all together. Yeah.
They are essentially all family.
That's right.
At this point.
Yeah.
And because they know more, like someone like Dustin and someone like Lucas, their families don't even know.
No.
It's just them.
Yeah.
So like when they go home and like mom and dad are thinking one thing and Dustin's like, listen, I just saved the galaxy. Okay. Like let off a little bit.
And
you have no idea.
Yeah. And I love this scene. It was just such a cool thing for Nancy to do. Because Nancy is obviously these other younger girls that Dustin was trying to ask to dance probably really admire Nancy and look up to her as being like the cool older girl.
She's the it girl. She dated Steve Harrington.
Yeah. And so this reminds me a lot. Again, I feel like I brought this show up earlier in the series Freaks and Geeks, because there is this scene in Freaks and Geeks where the main character who's cool asks one of the boys who is really nerdy to dance, and it like creates this whole wave of like, oh my gosh, you see it, maybe he's not so bad, or like that's pretty cool. So it's like, you know what, that is so great. I just admire those kids that are able to like see past all the ridiculousness of the different cliques and, you know, and really help a kid out who's going through it. That's really awesome.
It's hard to do at high school level, but but for those who do, that's really great.
Yeah.
And it would be awesome if more kids did that. But I understand. I was in high school once. I get it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
A few years ago.
But just a couple. Yeah. But then we have Lucas and Max have their first kiss.
Yes.
And we also have, I'm sorry, I skipped over. 11 shows up.
Oh, well, that too.
11 shows up.
Yes.
11 shows up to the dance, and Mike immediately approaches her and is like, and 11's like, listen, I don't know how to dance. He's like, I don't either. We can go figure it out.
Yeah.
And so they kind of go out there and they start to figure it out. And like I said, Lucas and Max had their kiss, and Mike and then Elle have their kiss. And like you said, Hopper and Joyce are outside because there's no way Joyce is leaving Will at any point in time
ever again
at this point.
Yeah.
But then after all these scenes, we do get the shot of Hawkins Middle School slowly turning upside down, and you get the look of the upside down where the Mind Flayer is still there and standing over Hawkins Middle School.
That's right.
And that's how the season ends.
It's just looking for its way in again. It's like
it'll find its way somehow,
it's waiting.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And
that's where
didn't kill it.
No.
Like you closed the gate, but it's not gone. It's just on the other side of the gate.
That's right. And I love that ending for the season because it buttons up the season. So to your point in the last, because I remember the last episode ended and I'm like, that would have made a great season finale too, because part of me is like, yeah, now we know 11's back, great. But they really do a good job, I would say, overall. And thank goodness, because of the amount of time between seasons, where like each season can also kind of stand on its own too. You know, like you need more of an explanation, but it's like you could actually even see where the series could have sort of ended there. You know, like
I think that's really the goal. Like you never know if you're getting another season. So if they had ended it right on that spot, no one would have been sad about it. Like you could interpret that. You could interpret that ending however you want to. Like that would be like you could say the Mind Flayer is trapped on the other side and not able to get through.
Right.
And that they can't figure it out. That could have been a reasonable understanding.
Right.
Now we have seasons afterwards that says not so much.
Yeah.
But they do a really good job of wrapping up every single season.
I like that.
You can still leave some things, you know, to be untold, without it being a true cliffhanger style ending, where they are literally, you're waiting to see what happens next, and then the next episode starts. I feel like they make these almost, you know, individual movies to some degree.
Which is really good here, because although we had only 1 year between season 1 and 2, but we are going to have then 2 years between season 2 and season 3.
Yeah, for sure. Well, now we're going to jump into our IMDb ratings segment of our podcast, where we talk about how we would have rated this episode, how you all rated it on IMDb, and who our favorite and least favorite characters of this episode were. Usually I throw it over to you, but I'm going to start first because I feel really confident about mine. I almost think you're going to have the same answers. We did that on our last week's Friends podcast for the first time, but I think we might. My least favorite character is Jonathan.
Yeah. Same.
And
I think I was kind of alluding to that earlier, because I'm a big Jonathan fan, but I'm like, dude.
I love Jonathan.
Yeah.
But this episode was not his finest.
No.
Where his biggest contribution is driving to the cabin and calling Hop on the radio.
Yeah.
Outside of that, he dropped the ball at every other opportunity to do something.
Yeah, it's like, dude, we all need to be on the same page here. And he was even planning to turn down the heat that they had on Will, and it's like
he tried to let him go. He tried to take his hands out of the ropes at one point. I
just don't like it. I know we've talked about how we don't like when characters seem to do things that seem out of character, because I don't really buy that for Jonathan. I don't know. I guess I feel like I would have liked to see him hold it together a little bit better here, considering everything that they've seen. And clearly he knows his mom is not trying to hurt Will. She's not trying to harm her son. And so I feel like he should try to trust the process a little bit more here, and like
be a little bit more on board. Like, listen, we know what the plan is. Like, let's be on board with that.
Although,
so with that,
I guess, yeah.
Oh, I was just who's your favorite character?
Well, my favorite in this one is Max. I went with Max because I loved that she was standing up to Billy. She was the one who got the getaway car. I mean, I don't really know what they were going to do before Billy arrived with that car.
Yeah.
So that actually worked out, and she stood up to him, and I just think that she adds this great dynamic to the group. And so I'm excited that Max is there, and and
they need a Zoomer. That's for sure.
That's right.
The group needs a Zoomer.
Because she could have easily been like, you know what, you guys, like, screw you, and like headed out.
She could have done that so many times.
Right?
So many times. But I think that just goes to show how much she genuinely likes these kids.
Yeah.
And she's probably never felt like connected to a group of friends either. And so this is now a group that is reaching out to her, or has reached out to her, at least mostly. She's not my favorite character. I'm going with Steve.
Steve. Another great choice.
Listen, Steve stepping out against Billy. Steve talking to Nancy and saying, listen, I make a great babysitter. I'm a horrible boyfriend. Steve, basically fighting Billy off in the cabin, in the buyer's house. Then also, being in the tunnel with the bat, helping out. I really liked what Steve did in this episode, mostly for his contributions at the buyer's house, but then also at the end of the episode, him being the one to drive Dustin to the dance and hype him up before he walks in, like, that was awesome. Loved that little scene with Steve and Dustin.
Yeah, Steve, he's such a great actor. I mean, talk about making this extremely tough but believable hard pivot from like someone that you just hate at the beginning of the show because he just is so like unbelievably cruel, like seems like he is with those other kids. But then you recognize that, it's more like the other kids that he's hanging out with. And you really see his character shine through, like who they're trying to get across as being really, really true to Steve. So I don't know. I really love his character. He might be my favorite character overall in the show. I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We'll get there, but I just really like him.
I will say, I think that I've read reports, or I've seen reports that said Steve was supposed to be killed off in the first season.
Yeah, right.
And then they pivoted from that and made him, and I can see that because his character certainly was one specific guy, and then they kind of kept it around. I don't know that those reports are true or not. I have nothing to base that on. Really, I have no inside knowledge.
Well, I think
I would say this. Whether he was supposed to be written off or not, his character has had such great writing all the way through. Like, his character development, like you were talking about, from season 1, episode 1 through season 2, episode 9 has been dramatic, and it's all been believable, and all of it has really come full circle. And seeing him at the end of this season is fantastic.
Well, I think that's probably 100% spot on that he was supposed to be killed off, because as I think I mentioned in our last episode that even 11 was supposed to be killed off in season 1, because I think, to your earlier point, it's almost like they were planning on each season may be the first and the last, So,
well, if you ended season 1 like the way they did, you could have
she could have died, right?
All you had to do was not show the scene where Will is looking in the mirror and spits out the tentacle. You cut that scene out and show that everybody's having their Christmas all together.
And that would have been it. Yeah.
And end it. Done.
Yeah.
Season over.
Yeah.
Show over.
I guess you could have even left that in and just left it as, well, okay, that kid's screwed now. I don't know what's going to happen to him, but
yeah.
But But 11 coming back, and then, I mean, any of them, and still, as we know, as the series continues, anything is up for grabs. You just don't know what's going to happen by the very end. I'm sure everyone is placing their bets on who we might lose, who might stick around. But
well, that for season 5, that is for sure happening.
Yeah.
When it comes to ratings, Amanda, I've actually, like I said at the very beginning of the show, I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to go. After going through the whole thing, I'm going to slightly bump mine up. So I will give you mine first.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a 9.2.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if I liked this one more than the last one or not. So coming into this episode, I'd given it a 9, which was exactly the same as the last episode for me.
Okay.
That was my rating.
Yep.
I'm going to go a little bit higher. I just, I love the scene, the times when it feels like the whole gang is working together.
Yeah.
Love that. Those are my favorite parts. And so in this one, even though they're all in different places, they are all working towards a common goal together. Oh, yeah. And it's the little scenes. It's the scene with Billy and Mrs. Wheeler. It's the scene with Hopper and Elle in the truck. It's the scene with Steve and Dustin going to the dance. Those are the scenes I like.
Yeah.
Genuinely, the scenes that kept me from making this any higher are like everything after the 1 month. Like, I don't need to see so much about the dance. Like, that was probably 15 minutes of this episode. Yeah. And so that part to me was the part that made me go, oh, maybe I want to actually make this a little bit lower.
No.
But I am going to go a little bit higher. I think seeing it all come to a close as neatly as it did, I do want to give it a little bit of credit for that. So I'm going to give it a 9.2.
We're super close. I gave this one a 9.1.
That's what I had it as. Or I had it as a 9. I'm sorry. Yeah. I had it as a 9.
Last episode, I rated that one as a 9.3.
You did,
and I liked the last one a little bit better because I really, really just loved the surprise of 11 coming back at the end and like just the look on Mike's face. It was so good how she just appeared right in the exact moment that they needed her to. It was so good. And just that insane scene with Bob being taken out and all the tension of him like trying to exit the Department of Energy and yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I was torn. I was torn between the two. I'll say this just in general.
Yeah.
I don't think this was a super great 11 season.
Yeah. Well,
like
it's because she was
the
like
moment
of
her
own
journey.
Yeah.
She was just out on her own. And that's why I guess that's part of it.
Yeah.
Like for the first few episodes, she's just like in the cabin.
Yeah.
And then she's out of the cabin, but she's on her own the whole time. And that's why I'm like, I like it when they're all together.
Yeah, I do too. But I can also understand where, that was an important thing for especially if they're going to be having several more seasons of this show, because you have to explain, like, this girl isn't just going to want to be held in this cabin. She's going to try to escape. She's a teenager. Like, she's going to try to go off and figure out her own stuff. So it makes sense. She stayed in
that cabin for a year.
A year. Yes. Yeah. Which is also kind of hard to believe that it even went on for that long. You'd think after a few weeks she would have done that, but yeah.
Well, just to be fair, I do want to put this out there. I've kept these things in like lockstead. The top episode for Stranger Things so far is a 9.3. That was the last season finale. And so I'm going to rate, like I said, I'm going to make this a 9.2 because I want to make it better than the Mind Flayer, but I don't want to make it better than the last season finale.
I'm almost thinking, even though because I like the last episode better, I gave it a 9.3, this one a 9.1. I'm thinking I'm low. I feel like the people probably rated this higher than both of us. That's my thought. But Eric,
would you like to change your rating?
No. I'm staying because this is my thoughts.
That's your thoughts. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
But I think that I might be lower than the overall. Yeah.
I have been rising up with the people, but I have been lower than the people every single time.
Yeah.
So like they gave it an 8.5, I gave it an 8.3. They gave it an 8.8, I gave it an 8.6. Like I kept going up, but I was just behind. Okay, let me pull it up. Bring up my phone.
Survey says
the people have rated it a 9.3.
Oh, wow.
So
we were
actually,
just below. Yeah. Okay.
I'm jotting this down. This is season 1, season 2. So these are now tied. Both finales got a 9.3 on IMDb. They are tied for the top episode. And in fact, well, we all know the low episode here. Whoop, that one.
Oh.
Episode season 2, episode 7 got a 6. Yikes. The previous low was an 8.1. We won't talk about that.
Let's
but anyway,
not mention it again.
I'll just ask this question. I know this podcast has gone way long. Like, I'm looking at our recording time going, whew, we have spent a lot of time here on this one. So,
oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah, we're way long on this one. So that being said, let me just ask you this final question as a sign off here. Which season do you prefer, season 1 or season 2?
I actually think I've liked season 2 better. Because, obviously we had to have season 1 to even get to season 2. So it's like, there's, season 2, even though I said they wrote them to kind of stand on their own, it wouldn't have been as great without knowing what happened in season 1. But
no.
Yeah.
No, I don't, when you said that, I don't think I took that as if you only aired season 2,
right,
it would be fine.
Right.
It would be the ending is fine based on everything we know so far.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think overall, just because you have more understanding of what the problem is, and they are actually able to be attacking this thing, right? Like now they're in, they're able to really defend and now they've sealed off the gate. So whereas at the end of season 1, sure, she took out that one Demogorgon, but we didn't really understand that it was only being controlled by this other, demonic entity. We didn't understand, and we had no concept of the Mind Flayer until just a couple episodes ago. So, yeah, I would say season 2. I like the direction. Again, I love where Steve's character is going. I really like all of their character development. I really like how they're all just evolving. So I like season 2. How about you, Eric?
I actually like season 1 a lot better.
You do?
I think season 2 is good. It's very good. But if I go back and think of a lot of the stuff that happened in season 1 when it comes to, the Steve and Jonathan drama, the idea of having to go into the Upside Down and get Will out, not really knowing what the Upside Down is, the kids having 11 the whole time, trying to figure out how to use this situation, like creating the sensory deprivation tub in the gym. And
so good. Yeah.
then like the kids are what were Jonathan and Nancy, they were rushing off. Oh, they were getting like all their hunting traps and they were
going through
fighting
the
off in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there was so much in season 1 that I really liked. Don't get me wrong. I love the addition of Murray and Max and Billy. Bob was great. So there were a lot more side characters that I really liked in this one. But I think getting to know all the kids and having all the kids have 11 all the time, I liked that they were on the hunt to get Will. Like they had to get Will.
Yes.
And you had the whole cover up. You had Mike literally stepping off the cliff.
Yeah, that's a good
there was
point.
a lot in season 1 that I really, really liked. So
yeah, because
don't
you don't
get me
even
wrong.
know Will is alive. Like, everyone thinks that he's dead. That whole thing with them cutting the body open, and it's really just this thing with stuffing in it. Like, wild.
And don't get me wrong, season 2 is great. Yeah. So I'm not holding that against anybody.
Oh, the scene with Barb too in the season 1.
Personally, for me, I'm gonna take season 1. Yeah. But I don't hate anybody that picks season 2.
You're making a good case. I could be swayed, but it's like, because that season, that episode opening with Barb in the pool too. Oh my God, where you just don't.
Yeah.
And the Demogorgon in season 1 almost reminded me a lot more of Alien from the Aliens franchise, like where it's like this one demon like looming over all of them, whereas now it's like these demo dogs running around on all fours. I mean, they're still super scary, but it's not quite as like creepy, maybe? I don't know.
The thing about season 1 is that you are not certain what any of this is. Right. You don't know what the Upside Down is. We're still trying to learn all of that. And at the same time, you are dealing with a cover-up from the government officials, and you're trying to like make sure that Elle doesn't get taken back by Papa the whole time. In season 2, none of those things are a concern anymore. You are really just dealing with this Mind Flayer situation. Yeah. And that is a big deal. Don't get me wrong. That's not nothing, but it is, it's a different type of concern because now you have a little bit more of a knowledge of what's actually happening. Mm-hmm. And in season 1, it's just very up in the air. Like, what is this? So
we also didn't have any throwaway episodes in season 1, whereas we had like every episode.
But we got one more episode.
1. That's true.
But we got one more episode in season 2, so that kind of counterbalances that.
Fair enough.
Well, thank you so much for listening to We Run on Reruns. Please follow us on our Instagram and our TikTok and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And again, we really love and appreciate all the support you guys are giving us so far there. You can obviously check out all of our full episodes of our podcast on WeRunOnReruns.com, not to mention checking us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of your favorite podcast players. For Amanda, this is Eric. Enjoy watching Season 3, Episode 1 this week. Happy rerunning, everybody.
See you later, guys.